Hi there and welcome to Juicy Celeb Talks. Keefe D, a figure who has long boasted about his involvement in the events surrounding the death of Tupac Shakur, has found himself in a precarious situation. Keefe D has often been vocal about his participation in these tragic events, even going as far as writing a book about it. However, recent developments have brought increased scrutiny and difficulties for him. Reports suggest that Keefe D has been facing a series of threats and attacks, leading to significant hardships. Rumors have circulated that Keefe D was attacked in prison, a claim that raises concerns about his safety as he awaits trial. Given the notorious nature of the charges against him, it's not surprising that he would be a target, especially considering the legacy of Tupac Shakur, one of the most beloved rappers in history. However, the story doesn't end with Keefe D's admissions about Tupac. There is speculation that someone else may be orchestrating these attacks to keep him silent. That person is rumored to be none other than Sean Diddy Combs. The connection between Keefe D and Diddy dates back to a series of allegations and insider accounts, suggesting that Diddy played a role in the events leading to Tupac's death. According to various sources, Diddy allegedly paid Keefe D, through a middleman named Eric Von Zip, a substantial sum to orchestrate the killing of both Tupac and Suge Knight. These allegations have been supported by several insiders who claim that Diddy was deeply concerned about his safety and allegedly sought to take care of the situation involving Tupac and Suge Knight. In multiple interviews, Keefe D has openly discussed his involvement, including a particular incident where he claims Diddy called him to confirm whether they were responsible for Tupac's death. This level of transparency has put Keefe D in a dangerous position, especially as legal pressures mount. When Keefe D was arrested as a suspect in the case, the stakes were raised significantly. The possibility that Diddy might try to silence Keefe D to prevent further revelations from coming to light seems increasingly likely, especially given Diddy's alleged history of threatening and intimidating people. The situation took a more serious turn during Keefe D's trial when it was revealed that he had allegedly cooperated with authorities to implicate Diddy in the crime. Court documents indicated that Keefe D, caught dealing a large quantity of drugs, became an informant, believing he had immunity from prosecution. He reportedly told investigators that Diddy paid $1 million to have Tupac and Suge Knight killed. These serious allegations have been bolstered by the testimony of former LA detective Greg Kading, who documented Keefe D's confession and claimed that Diddy offered $1 million for the hit on Tupac and Suge Knight. However, some people view Keefe D's admission skeptically, arguing that he might not be entirely truthful. Despite the gravity of the situation, Keefe D has continued to talk about his involvement, which has only exacerbated his problems. He was once seen as a respected OG with connections to the hip-hop world, but is now viewed as someone who foolishly talked himself into a dire situation. His legal troubles have been compounded by repeated attacks in prison, with reports indicating that he has been assaulted several times while awaiting trial. In a recent interview, Reggie Wright Jr., a former employee at Suge Knight's Death Row Records and a gang unit officer, confirmed that Keefe D had been attacked multiple times in prison. These incidents, though not severe, suggest a hostile environment where Keefe D's notorious reputation makes him a target. His reputation as a venerated OG has suffered greatly, with many now seeing him as a joke, someone who talked too much about a high-profile case without understanding the consequences. Since his arrest, Keefe D has struggled significantly. Not only has he faced legal challenges, but he has also been the subject of multiple attacks while in custody. In December 2023, his lawyers filed a 33-page bail application, arguing that his interviews about Tupac were merely for entertainment and financial purposes. However, this strategy backfired, as these interviews became a significant factor in his arrest and continued detention. Keefe D's downfall can be traced back to his decision to publish his memoir, Compton Street Legend, in 2019. In the book, he detailed the events leading up to Tupac's death, including the infamous drive-by shooting. He described how someone in his group shot at Tupac's car and how Diddy allegedly paid for the hit. This public confession, combined with various interviews over the years, may have violated a previous immunity agreement he had with law enforcement, ultimately leading to his current legal predicament. Adding to Keefe D's troubles is the loss of his former status. Once considered a formidable figure in the criminal world, he is now seen as a liability. His family has reportedly expressed concerns for his safety, fearing retribution from those who might want to silence him. This fear is compounded by the belief that Diddy could still be influencing events from behind the scenes, aiming to protect his own interests. The history between Keefe D and Diddy is long and complex. Keefe D was introduced to Diddy by Eric Von Zip Martin in the early 1990s. They struck up a business relationship, with Keefe D providing security for Diddy and his artists. However, tensions eventually arose, particularly after the 1995 Source Awards, where Suge Knight made a notorious comment seemingly directed at Diddy. This rivalry escalated into violence, culminating in the tragic deaths of Tupac and, later, the notorious B.I.G. Keefe D has consistently claimed that Diddy offered him $1 million to kill Tupac and Suge Knight. According to Keefe D, this offer came after a series of violent incidents, including the assault of Keefe D's nephew by members of Death Row Records. Keefe D saw this as a personal affront and a business opportunity, aligning with Diddy's interests against their mutual enemy, Suge Knight. In the aftermath of Tupac's death, Diddy reportedly became increasingly paranoid, even hiring former Navy SEALs for protection. The relationship between Diddy and Keefe D soured, with Keefe D feeling used and betrayed. He has since expressed regret over his involvement, suggesting that meeting Diddy was one of the worst moments of his life. Keefe D believes that Diddy manipulated him and Suge Knight into conflict, ultimately leading to their mutual downfall. The events that followed Tupac's death further complicated the narrative. Just 6 months after Tupac's murder, the notorious B.I.G. was also killed in a drive-by shooting. This incident added another layer of tragedy to the already volatile situation, cementing the East Coast-West Coast feud's deadly legacy. The deaths of these two iconic figures left a lasting impact on the hip-hop community and continue to fuel speculation and conspiracy theories to this day. In the end, Keefe D's story is a cautionary tale about the dangers of boasting about criminal activities and the complex web of alliances and betrayals in the hip-hop industry. His current situation, facing serious charges and threats to his safety, reflects the high stakes involved in this world. As he awaits trial, the truth behind his involvement in Tupac's death and the extent of Diddy's alleged role remain critical questions, leaving many wondering what further revelations might emerge.